All right, how's it going, Tommy?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing really good today. How have things been going with you like personally? How have things been going?
Good. Everything's good at the house. Nothing too drastic lately. Everything's been kind of the same.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to get too personal, but I just want to see how things are going. I always like to see how my sales reps are doing, and because I know that sometimes things can affect, and I just want to see kind of how everything went the other day. I know that I was talking to you, or I was listening in on one of your calls, and then I had to go. How did that end? How did that phone call go?
I think I remember what you're talking about. I think the call went well. I was able to close the deal and basically continue on throughout the day. I don't know how much you to what point you heard I was in or what's like part I was at.
Yeah, you were just kind of talking to you were talking to somebody, and you asked like I think like one question or something like that, and I was just curious to see how it ended. I just had to leave early, so I don't remember a ton of it. I just remember
Yeah.
the first part and kind of seeing how you were beginning your sales pitch to like people doing their cold calls. Um, but I was just curious. That's fine. It's all right. Something that I was kind of mulling about recently. How do you think everything's been going with your sales calls? How do you think you've been doing with the cold calling and making your pitch? How's that been going?
I think I've been doing pretty good. Sometimes it's a little hard for me just just calling someone and being like just start talking to them. But usually, eventually, once I find a connection with them, I'm able to use that for the rest of the process. Kind of like build off of that. I think overall I'm doing pretty good.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. I like that you're building a connection with them. How do you build that connection? How do you do that?
Well, I just start with my name. I usually find something like kind of like what you just did. I asked how their day is. Usually they'll go on and give me a couple more details, and then basically on the details that they give me, I usually like pick one thing out that either relates to me, I've heard someone do it, or I've seen in the past, and try to like you know basically be interested in it and invested in them.
Cool. Yeah, I love that. That's super important to kind of narrow down and get to know the person because if first and foremost, if it doesn't feel personal, it just feels like business to them.
Right.
They're not going to care as much, and they probably won't give you as much information, and they won't care. So I think that's awesome. Um, after you create that connection with that person or whoever you're talking to, how what's like the next step? Like what do you do after that?
Usually, after I have a connection, I'll try to basically give them a little bit of information of, who I'm like, who I am, who I work for, kind of give them like kind of like a summary before I kind of just dive in, kind of just let them know, we're on the same page. And that way, usually that makes them comfortable so that I don't, like try to pull something off, I guess, last minute or, have some trust.
So okay, so if I'm hearing you right, you're picking up the phone, you're trying to like kind of ask questions to see how how they're doing personally, or how their day's been going. Kind
Yeah.
of maybe see like maybe pinpoint, maybe they're into sports, or maybe in there's certain things that kind of intrigues them to talk about. And then after that, you just kind of explain to them the product. Is that
No, not the product. I kind of, with those questions, depending on what I've got, I'll recommend something. But I'm pretty straight up with them, and I'm just like, well, the reason why I'm calling today is, and then kind of just go and tell them what the problem is, or I'm just checking up, and then that kind of like lets them, I guess, feel more comfortable rather than me just going into and diving into products.
okay? Cool. So you kind of do your homework. Is that what I'm hearing? Do you know already their problems?
Yeah. Sometimes I if I can, I'll try to read up before. Sometimes I don't have the opportunity, so I just have to ask.
Okay, cool. So you're pretty good at asking questions and seeing their problem then.
Yeah, I try my best to ask the right questions to hopefully, based off of that, see what I can do.
Okay, yeah, that sounds awesome. It seems like you've got a pretty good hold on and everything you're doing, and I think if as long as you're just asking those questions, you're getting to know their problem, and you're kind of trying to find that personal thing to kind of create that bond or that connection with
Right.
that client. I think that's perfect. I think you're doing a great job. And I mean, what are some things that you feel like that like you need to work on, or things that you feel like you're not doing too well right now?
Some things I guess that I struggle with is sometimes I feel like I'm not. It's not that I don't know about the product. It's just that I don't know what the best recommendation with, as long as like we have a goal to meet,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to make sure they have the right product, but at the same time I want to reach my goal. And sometimes I feel like maybe it's lack of clarity, but I just don't feel like I can help them at times. I just feel like stuck.
So you're saying that you like they have a problem, and
Hmm.
you necessarily don't know like the exact product that they need sometimes, or you feel like
Or sometimes I feel like there's, um, you know, but there's multiple products. I offer them all to them, but sometimes I just feel like there's not one product that fits their needs specifically.
oh, okay, yeah, okay, that makes sense. And then you feel like you don't know what to offer them, and then you also have in mind like maybe I'll just offer them whatever because I just need to meet my quota.
Right.
I just want to get the numbers.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. I can see that happening because why do you feel like you're not getting like you're not able to help them the best? What do you think that why do you think that happens?
Um, I'm not too sure. I feel like I just I'll be in the middle of the conversation and then I'm just kind of like, well, I don't know what to do next.
Okay. Um, you mentioned before that you might have felt like you didn't really you might have not understood their problem necessarily or understood it fully.
Hmm.
I mean, you said what was the way that you got to know in the beginning you got to know them personally? What were some of the things that you did?
Just ask them, what's their name, how's their day going, things like what they do for at home for work, kind of like that general gist idea. It obviously I'm not like digging in super deep. I don't want
Yeah,
to be like, are you married or something like that.
yeah.
But just to skim the top off and see basically build a kind of like a connection, like I said.
Do you think questions, not specifically like that, but questions in general could help you see what the needs are as well? Kind of like what you did with the whole personal side of things and
Hmm.
trying to ask questions and get to know them. Maybe I do think that could be applied to asking questions and getting to know like their problem with like their sporting goods and things that they need.
Yeah, I think that does seem like a good idea to, I guess, ask them. You said on their problem, like questions on their problem, or
Yeah, or like just their needs, the problems they were having. Maybe try to get the gist, try to get a good like background. Do
hmm.
you think that could help?
I think so. Yeah, seems like a good idea to try.
Yeah, I mean, right now it seems like you're getting to know their problems, or you know them previously before you call.
Hmm.
And so sometimes like the things change. Sometimes they need things that we might not know of.
Right.
And so asking questions can really benefit that, and kind of how you do with the whole personal side of the conversation. You feel like you build a connection. Maybe you can kind of transfer that to asking questions about the more of the product side of things, and maybe to see if you can dive deeper to figure that
Hmm.
out.
I think that's a good thing. I'm definitely down to try that. I just feel like maybe if I guess write the questions down, specific questions before I jump in, that'd be I guess help me gather my thoughts easier.
Yeah, that's a great plan. I think that's awesome. I think when you have a plan set and you have specific questions, you don't necessarily have to like abide by those and like
Hmm.
say exactly those questions, but at least you don't get nervous. You like won't know what to say,
Yeah, and
and
have
so
something to look off of.
yeah, you'll have like a couple questions, and maybe you can even cater them to the people you're calling,
Hmm.
because you can have like a general question list for
Yeah.
like like just like a general for cold calls, and you can have maybe a couple like two or three for that specific customer.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of a cool thing to do, so you can maybe get a more deeper dive into what they need.
Yeah, I like that idea because it gives me like kind of like you said that fallback option in case I do get nervous or something of that sort.
Yeah, cool. So let's try this. Let's go out and if you're okay with this, you can create a list let's not work on like the very specific for like per company, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe create a list of maybe like 10 questions that you would like to ask for specific, just maybe product, maybe their needs overall,
Mm-hmm.
just questions like that. What would you say about creating like a list of 10, 15 questions, and then we can come back tomorrow and we can talk about those questions, see if those are good or not. Maybe you implement those as well
Yeah.
after maybe you take a few minutes, write down a few questions, implement those, and we'll come back tomorrow and see how that went for you.
Okay, I think I can do that. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. We'll be back tomorrow.
Sounds good. Awesome.
Nice
Thank
talking
you.
to you.